Oh,
Remind you that we're not.
Good evening. Calling the meeting to order from Bryant Parks Committee. I'll turn it over to you.
I'm gonna, like we started last month, I will take roll, but first I would like to introduce our newest committee member, Tony Williams. He is not in the room with us tonight, but I believe he has zoomed in. He is out of town, for work in St. Louis. He needs to. I'm gonna, started last month, I will take roll, but first I would like to introduce our newest committee member, Tony Williams. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Sorry about that. We have some, I hear myself in the background. But, Tony, are you on with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thanks for making it here tonight. Yes, like I said, Tony is in St. Louis for work, but still wanted to zoom in so that he could be here this evening. He is representing Ward 2 for the committee starting this year. So he took Richard McEwen's spot, who left at the end of last year. So now big upgrade. Big upgrade. There you go. Thanks, Mayor. So I'll start out. Benny.
Here.
Curtis.
Here.
Farmer. Present. Jolly is not here. Martin. Here. Moore.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Whittington. Here.
Oh.
Welcome.
Well.
All right, so first thing is approval of minutes for last month. Everybody not had a chance, if you want to look over those quickly. Anything that we need to update? I want to point out that Amanda Jolly was elected as person, but since she's out of town, here I am. According to the bylaws,
That's
here I
right.
am.
As we spoke about last month, whoever is the longest tenured member of the committee fills in if the chairperson's not here, which is Renee.
And here we go.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
So, second. All in favor? All right, the next thing we have is presentation by our mayor, Chris Tree.
Where do you want me to, wherever you want me to sit? Oh, you're welcome. You want me to sit at the table, or you want me to stand?
I don't know how long you gotta talk for.
Yeah. Or maybe we make him stand.
It's dangerous.
So it's shorter if you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it won't take long, unless you have questions. But I'm visiting all the committees and commissions, and going over, just highlighting, what I presented in our State of the City, last month, so everybody's in the loop. I was trying to think of a good way to describe this. How many times you heard this still now, Phil? But I remember as a kid, the first time I realized that not everybody sang out the same hymnal as the one I was used to. When I got old enough to visit churches with my friends.
He is able to watch.
He is, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn my back to you, Tony. I remember being old enough to go to churches with my friends, and I was like, oh, their hymnal's different. I didn't know that. I thought we all sang out of the same one. And that's kind of I know that dates me, all right?
I understand that.
But that's kind of the idea, is what I tried to do when I first was elected. I went on the listening tour with my mentor, Scott Staples, and then I just kind of kept listening and gathering what I heard from people as the priorities. And so I pulled those together again to say, hey, why don't we all sing from the same hymnal? Let's just try to move forward with these priorities. And I've broken them up into 4 pillars. And the first one is vision, where we're going. And this year, what we're going to be doing is tracking our cash reserves in some different buckets. This isn't policy. This is just, if we were to adopt a policy like this, what would it look like? So you'll see that in our financial statements. You'll see some red every month. You'll see these 5 red buckets, okay? And that's what these are, 5 different cash reserve buckets. I had the honor of having lunch with, Mayor Halley, and I asked him, I was like, talk to me about what you did with your cash reserves. And he said, well, Chris, we didn't have cash reserves. But it reminded me, look, we're not always gonna be what we are now, right? So let's start thinking about what it looks like in the future. For the Parks Department, I want to draw your attention to that third bucket there, the capital. What we want to do, and it's going to take us a while. We're looking at everything in the city we know needs to be replaced, and ultimately things we want to build. Okay, pool pack is the example I use. What we'd like to do with this bucket is start now to earmark a little bit of money every year, because we know in 15 years we got to replace the pool pack. Okay, so if we start saving a little every year for that, 15 years from now it needs to be replaced. We'll have the money if we wanted to, right? To do that. That's part of the planning. Basically, what we're looking at, if with the cash reserves, right, earmarked for certain projects, and our borrowing power, we can start planning 10, 15, 20 years down the road on the things we want to do. Specifically, the Parks Master Plan, right? The question of always how. Well, with this in place, we can actually put together a plan. Some of that will fund cash reserves. Some of that we can borrow for, right? We'll be able to plan long term for all the needs that we already know we have. What we have been doing is every year kind of saying, hey, what do we want to try to borrow for? What do we want to try to get? What do we want to use cash for this year? Instead of doing that year to year, we have a long-term plan. So be on the lookout for that. It's probably going to take us all year to really dig into that plan. It's something that Public Works has to do by law, right? Which you get. It's important that our Public Works infrastructure stays up to date. But we're going to try to apply that same kind of idea to the general fund. So I think you'll see some of that come through this committee. Comprehensive growth and land use plan. Obviously, we continue to grow. We got to make, as Richard, your former chairperson said, I got to quote him, let's make sure growth happens not just to Bryant, but for Bryant. So the Planning Commission is going to be doing a lot of work on that. Water, wastewater infrastructure. 3, you're going to keep hearing over Act 605. You'll hear that over and over. South Plain, water tower. You're going to hear that over there. And Lift Station 5. Those 3 things you hear over and over and over from us. And so hopefully everybody in town will know what we mean by those things. You'll see that this year. Pillar 2, leadership through transparency and trust. We're continuing to try to be extremely proactive in our communication, right? Hey, it's Jack Mosley. You got to be proactive and intentional in communication. Anyone who's been married for any length of time, you know, you never can stop communicating. It leads to disaster. So Mayor's Memorandum, spread the word about that. That lives on our website under We Are Bryant. It's going to give you a snapshot of everything going on in the city. It's written from the mayor and the department heads to the council. So it's kind of insider baseball, right? What's happening in the city, a monthly snapshot. You're going to see that in the mayor's memo. Council wrap-up videos. These are going to be emailed to you. The mayor's memo, if you're not getting them now, please let me know, because you need to be on the email list. And council wrap-ups, give us 4 to 5 minutes. You're going to see all the highlights of the council decisions with a link to see the whole meeting if you're that kind of nerd. But also spread the word on that. If people don't know what's going on, if you hear people say, I don't know what's going on, I don't feel connected, get on this email list. Then it's in their inbox. If they want to know more, they can, or they can just delete it. But at least it's there. A lot more educational videos we've got planned this year, so you'll see those. And then surveys. We had a lot of success this year with our budget survey and our water survey. So we just want to keep getting better at that. Quick, simple, efficient ways to get feedback from people. We want to know what are the residents' priorities. We don't want to be, we don't want to assume, right, that these are the priorities. We want to know the priorities and then set the agenda based on what the residents tell us. Problem solving, pillar 3, what can't wait. We have 3 major funding issues we got to face as a city. Our stormwater department has got to become a standalone utility. Right now, it does not have the funding to be standalone. Street funding, you know, is an issue, especially if you live out Hilltop, Hilldale, Spring Hill. Other parts of the city need help too. And then police and fire pensions. We got a lot of police and fire that probably be retiring in the next several years. We want to make sure our budget's ready for that. All right, these are things everybody knows about, right? There's no surprises here. Everybody would agree we need to deal with this. The challenge is always, how are we going to pay for it? That's when people start getting real opinionated. So we're forming a subcommittee of with 4 council members, 3 at-large residents. That subcommittee is going to take on each one of those. Our staff will be presenting our plans, okay? And those plans are going to be publicly vetted. So everybody knows, this is how we think we should pay for this. Not everybody's going to agree, right? We can't get everybody to agree that that's a good plan. But at least you've heard the plan, you know why, and maybe, just maybe, somebody's got a better plan. And they can step up and say, hey, how about we think about this? So that committee, I'm thinking at least 12 months to vet those funding plans, and then they'll make recommendations. If they come to conclusion, right, they'll make recommendations to council for those funding plans. And then pillar 4, economic development, building for tomorrow. We want to continue to grow our local economy. We have great relationships with the Greater Bryant Chamber and Saline County Economic Development Commission. As you probably know, Thursday, council's going to vote on a potential bond initiative that would go to the people May 13th for an entertainment venue off of Highway 5. I hope you've heard those discussions, which would be a major sales tax generator and provide that kind of thing that people have been asking for a long time, a commercial district with more restaurants and more activities for families in Bryant, so you're not having to leave the city or the county. And it's, you know, I think it's a good enough idea. It's got a lot of potential that the people should have a choice, right? If the people of Bryant don't want that in our town, they'll get to say no. But if they do, they'll get to say yes. So you'll be seeing more of that. But I hope what you, even if let's say council says no, we don't want to put that in front of people. I do think what we've done is show we're going to keep trying to be proactive, right, in economic development. We're not going to just rest and sit back on, hey, it's going to grow 4% every year. We don't know that, right? We can't take that for granted. We got to keep working at growing our economy, because that's what puts the money back in the parks, police and fire, streets, right? That sales tax revenue. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you is Bless Bryant is something we did a little bit last year, kind of as a pilot program, but this year we're expanding it. The City Family Life Ministries and the Bryant High School Student Senate, we're partnering that throughout the year we're going to be connecting volunteers with projects throughout the month of December with local nonprofits that already serve the city, okay? So it's a volunteer connection program. We're going to connect the people that want to serve with the nonprofits who are already doing it well in the city of Bryant. We hope it just pours gasoline on what already makes us such a great city. People like you taking time to serve, and then the next generation who already have that in their hearts, giving them a venue doing that. So those are the highlights. Any questions? All right, well, good. Listen, biggest thing, like, you know, we want to hear from people. We want people to know. People are going to contact you, right? They know you're on a committee, a city committee. People contact you. They say, I heard this. Give them my email address. You tell them how to be informed, okay? We want people to know what's happening in the city of Bryant. So you're going to do a lot of communication efforts. But at the end of the day, it's still word of mouth, right? Still word of mouth. People contact you if they're asking about something about this, if they're asking about anything else. Please tell them to reach out. You got my email. I will gladly sit down with anybody, tell them whatever they need to know about what's happening in our city. Right?
Good plan.
Okay,
I
thank you.
didn't have a question, but just comment. I like the idea.
Thank you very much. You got a lot of input on this one. Pretty cool.
And we're hopefully be doing some work with them later in the year, so.
Yep. You'll be getting more information about a luncheon coming up this month. So kind of start spreading the vision of it. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Mayor. All right, next is are we down to
Yep.
2024 ATA Field of the Year, the Campbell Lacrosse Park?
Yes, so I will, on January 16th, some of our grounds crew attended the Arkansas Turf Grass Association Annual Conference, and we received a prestigious award there, and I'll let Matt present that here. We received the Field of the Year Award for the Campbell Lacrosse Field out at Alcoa 40 Park. So I think Matt had a few other.
We were obviously very honored to receive this award, and it was a great partnership with Salt County Lacrosse. We could not have done that without them. Adam Baker, that's here tonight, he did a lot of the work himself, and it was really cool to see how quickly that field became something for the city to be proud of. With both the Parks Department and Salt County Lacrosse getting together and making that happen, and so. At the end of this year, when they came up with the nominations, I knew exactly what I wanted to put in, and we were lucky enough to win it. So I'd like to thank Adam and Salt County Lacrosse, and we're real proud to have the Field of the Year for the state.
So this year we had 4 boys that committed and 2 girls that committed. Out of our seniors, we had 5 girl seniors, 9 boy seniors. They were all offered lacrosse scholarships. Some of them went. U of A has club lacrosse, they don't have scholarships. So there's some that just chose to go. One went basketball, one went for dance team.
Yeah.
But every one of our seniors has been offered scholarships. Some of them multiple, like one girl got 7, another girl got 5. So they're offered everywhere.
That's awesome. So, good outreach for kids. So. All right. Anybody else have anything to say? All right, associations and club reports. We don't have anybody this month, do we? Yeah. I don't think anybody.
Mayor took that.
Oh, okay, good job. All right, so now we are to director's report.
So you have our January summary in front of you. The aforementioned, our ground staff attended the Arkansas Turf Grass Annual Conference there. We had aquatic staff that attended the Arkansas Aquatic Conference in Cabot. This is kind of a time of year a little slower, so you see a lot of these conferences that, they're doing these things right now before everybody gets busy and can't get away for a couple of days, So I do want to highlight down a little closer to the bottom, we're currently working with JF Media on a comprehensive advertising plan for our park system. So, obviously we have a lot of sponsorships, but we're really with this focusing more on advertising opportunities that are here rather than calling it sponsorship opportunities, you know, with the Placer software that we now have to show the amount of foot traffic and the amount of eyes that we have. You know, I felt like this is not something that when we're going and asking people for money, like we're not asking for a handout. Like we have a lot of space here that has a lot of people's eyes on it that would be valuable opportunities. So we're working with professionals that do this for a living to put together a plan for going out and really trying to you know, maximize some of the revenues that we can bring in on those advertising opportunities. So it's been really good. I expect maybe not next month, in the next 2 months, I think we'll have that full plan ready to present to you guys, and then after that, I'll just ask for support for anybody that you know that needs a really good place to advertise their business, because then it becomes the hard part of selling all of it. So yeah, but yeah, I did want to. I think I may have mentioned that at the end of last year that we were looking at that, but we are currently, they've been contracted, so we're currently working with them. You know, they've been out a couple of times now and walked the park and with myself, with Matt, and just like ask questions of the things that we don't really think about, but like, okay, I'm here for a baseball tournament. What's my path like? Where am I walking? What, you know, where am I standing in line for the concession stand for 10 minutes, you know, and where my eyes go, you know, so more of that rather than like, oh, well, we have a pavilion, who wants to sponsor the pavilion, or things like that. So just a different way of looking at it to try to help some of our community businesses, you know, advertise, but then also, you know, obviously we talk about funding a lot, and so if we can help them advertise and also help us bring in a little bit more money for the Parks Department, it's a win-win, so.
How did it matter? Are they local?
JF Media, their business is not local, but it is Alicia Dover, who is a Bryant graduate, I believe, yes, so, yeah. But I think they're in Sherwood now, but that's also, so when the Boys and Girls Club rebranded to Bryant Youth Association, they are the company that handled that entire rebranding. A big selling point for them was also when Simmons Bank Arena, what was it before Simmons? Right. When they were hired to handle, they handled that transition, with the arena. So a lot of the stuff they talked about are things they did with Simmons Bank Arena and things like that too. So a lot of experience in that. We have contracted right underneath that. If you're familiar out at Midland, there in the parking lot, there was that elevated concrete slab that I think used to be a building or something there. And then there was a well pump house, which we don't use well water out there anymore. It is on city water. So there was a lot of wasted space, and I hear all the time how parking is so limited there. So we worked with Bryant Streets Department to go in, they busted all that up, leveled it, and went and put, we couldn't do asphalt there, but they went and put gravel there to add some parking there for Midland Soccer Complex, just because we did have a lot of wasted space that, you know, we could repurpose that for better use. So, and then the last 4 things there, you know, we talked last month about a lot of the maintenance issues going on with the pool. The lap pool heater has been replaced. It is back up and running. Within a day, the therapy pool heater went out, which we knew was right behind it. I mean, they're both the same age. It went out that day. We were able to get it back up and running, but we have gone ahead and started the process of ordering that therapy pool heater as well. So there may be some funding from Amendment 78 that it can just roll into that, since it was already bid out for the pool pack replacement. If not, I mean, it was going to have to be replaced this summer anyway. The therapy pool was going out. So if we can't do it that way, we'll go to council and we'll ask for savings to replace that. But
What do you think?
so the lap pool that we just did, 21,000. I think the therapy pool heater is going to be like 24,000. It's basically the same thing. It's just where they're putting it back in there. They're going to stack the units to create more space. Before, both units were side by side and they took up the entire room. but they said with these, they can actually stack them and create a little bit of storage space for us as well. So stacking, some of the infrastructure of stacking on May is gonna cost a bit more, but. The bathhouse HVAC has been fixed at this point. It's going to have to be replaced as well, but right now it has been fixed. And really, the building is 13, 14 years old, and all these things are going out at one time. But kind of what Chris talked about earlier, we knew this day was coming, so, but now we're trying to just plan better for future issues with this. So, and then the last one there, we have received our bids for the pool pack replacement. The bids did come in lower than what we had anticipated, so we're hopeful. So we are, we're currently negotiating a contract on that, but the bids were lower, so that's where we're hopeful some of those savings we're gonna be able to repurpose and use for some of these other maintenance issues that we knew were gonna be coming anyway, so. That is all I have. Any questions on any of that? Yes.
Give us an update, I know you gave it last time, but I want more update. When about, are we gonna be getting the, submarine?
So, Matt, because they were about to install it, correct?
You're talking about the pool cover?
The Mills car, yeah.
So, we'll back up, I don't know how far you were informed, but we did get it in a couple months ago, and it was in the wall.
Yeah.
So, they went back and they have it now, that aquatics conference that Keith mentioned, Kristen was talking to the guy, but now Kristen and I have been discussing whether or not we're even going to put it on this year at this point, because that'll be by the time you get it on, you're gonna be taking it back off, so they're gonna come out and make sure it's gonna fit, but we don't think we'll end up installing it this year.
At this point,
Yeah.
we've really passed the point of really meeting it all, so.
Kristen said all the leaves are already in the pool.
But we are gonna make sure that, like Matt said, we're gonna make sure that it fits and it's the right cover and everything, but it probably will not actually be on at all this winter, unfortunately, so.
They can clean it out,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they should,
Yeah.
or at least part of the cost. So, okay, any questions, any other questions or comments? Steve? Tony, are you okay? Are you hearing? Okay, look, he's shaking his head, no, he's good, okay, good. So, public comment. Anyone? Yeah, okay. And now, any old business?
So, last month I brought the bylaws to you for two purposes. One, a lot of our newer members, were not with us when we went through this process a few years ago. But also in the bylaws, we did have an update that was needed, and that was the location of our meetings. I have updated that for for this, draft of the bylaws. Does anyone else have anything else they saw in there that, for discussion or for update or anything like that? Otherwise, I will take this to council to update the location of our meeting. I do need them, I did.
Oh, we didn't.
I'm just keep talking on it, I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, but where is?
So, I'm sorry, the update that was made, I meant to highlight it actually. It is on, it's section 5 under meetings, part A there, regular meeting number 3. And that used to be, at the time in 2022, which, you would have been with us when we went through about 6 months of updates, I feel like in 2022, but, but in 2022, we were meeting in the, courtroom. And so that's what it said when we finalized the bylaws, but since then we have moved back to our original home here at Bishop Park, and so that, I updated that part where our meetings are taking.
So, I guess I have a question on that one specific part. So I don't think it was all of an official meeting. I do remember when we met in the city council chambers, and
for the budget workshop.
Yes, for a workshop. Would that mean that we, if we had a meeting outside of, this building, that would not, qualify as a meeting?
It would not be a regular meeting, because that was not our regular, I think it took the place of our regular meeting date, but it was not our meeting, it was a budget workshop with city council.
Gotcha. I just wanna make sure, like, because based off of that, I just wanna clarify, like, if we ended up wanting to do something like that again in the future, and make it an official meeting, would that be considered, I would, under the way this is sitting, make that.
Yeah, it would need to be a special meeting, it's called, that next section there, yeah.
Okay.
So also, y'all have to help me with my memory, we didn't do that this past October, right? Because used to, we always did a budget workshop instead of our October meeting, but I think with Chris, we ran all of our meetings normal, I think, last year. I think it was at the beginning, we did the workshop on the, master plan, I think. So that was a very,
We did.
because up until this past year, our October meeting was always a budget workshop rather than a meeting. But that's, I think Chris changed that to where we still run our all of 12 regular meetings as scheduled, and then any workshop will be outside of that, rather than taking the place of our meeting.
All right, this does need a motion.
I'm sure it's,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I'm sure it's in there about, you were talking about the person that's been on,
Mm-hmm.
that is in here.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Just wanna make sure it was in here.
Yes, it is.
I think it's over in section 2,
Yes.
where it says the committee. And
So
then
it's number
got
4.
all
No.
those tracks.
Yeah.
Go back,
Okay.
wait, yeah, go back, right there. Right down there. Yeah, right there.
So it's, on the second page, under C, the chairperson, number 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, man, I led you astray, didn't I? Man.
Yeah, I got you, okay.
I was looking at the term, sorry, I was looking at the
Yeah,
term.
no,
Now,
I just wanna make sure.
Renee may argue this, I don't know if everyone can do this. Maybe I should add a line for this, but it says in the absence of the chairperson, the person with the most seniority, Amanda also has the most seniority, so I just want the second most seniority. I felt like that was the best way of doing it, so.
Yeah.
But I can't add that line if we just go down the line.
But technically, if Amanda's already the chairperson.
Then that's why I did that, yeah.
So,
Yeah, so.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, don't worry, you're safe.
I I'll be sure that you can say.
I know, yeah, thanks.
So, but yes, that is where that.
Okay, good deal. I know what you talked about, I didn't know what you said.
We're making a motion
to recommend.
Yes, to recommend to council to.
I'll make the motion to recommend to council update the bylaws highlighting location.
Second that motion.
And all in favor? Aye. I heard like 3, so I think we're good.
All in favor?
I was like,
All right, I think it's passed.
yes, we're good. Okay, and now, any new business, looks like, Keith?
Yes, I want to introduce someone y'all seen a few times now, but, our grants coordinator, Rebecca Kidder, she's here to, introduce the Metro Plan CPRG grant.
Yeah, so we are looking at applying for this grant. It says, I've got to look at what it's going for because there's so many letters in all these grants. This one is a climate pollution reduction grant. And then under that, this one is a Central Arkansas Streetlight Conversion Grant. Okay, so what we are looking at doing, and I gave you all a map, so Bishop Park, it's these streetlights right out here. So it says 6 streetlights when you come in, or to your right. This grant would convert them to LEDs. And then on the back of your map, you can see the difference that an LED light will make. So it will improve, safety, obviously, just like people getting to their cars. There's less light pollution, energy efficiency, all of that. The good thing about this grant is that it is 100% paid for, so there's no match. But we do have to take a resolution to council at the end of this month.
So yes, one thing that we have talked about a lot, that is a very top priority here, is getting lighting in the rest of our park. This would not solve that problem.
Yeah.
However, when we finally get lighting in the rest of our park, those of you that can see these lights up here will realize at that point, that's going to look very, very bad. Because we're gonna have LED lighting throughout the park, and then that's gonna be awful. And so, if this were not 100%, we probably wouldn't be bringing it, but there's an opportunity. This is something we would eventually have to do anyways. So I felt like it was a no-brainer to bring that if we can go ahead and solve this problem at 100%, then, let's go ahead and try to do that now. And I promise we are still working mightily to find a way to light the rest of the park.
This would be somewhat comparable to this one, those are great.
Yes, well,
Like,
we haven't, no, those, I don't think those are LED at Midland.
I know they
either.
were. I didn't want to say.
Oh, no, the field lights at Midland
Right, that's what I mean.
are, yes, I'm sorry, the field lights at Midland are, yeah. Yeah, we added those a couple of years ago, the LED. Yeah, so, and I think it's I mean, as you leave tonight, like, we do have some lights there, but it's better than anywhere else, but it is not
Better than nothing.
good by any means, so.
Make a motion to recommend, I guess, the council with, approval of this grant.
All in favor?
Aye.
Must be really loud, that's right. Good job. All right, any committee comments, anything that we haven't, that anybody else wanted to mention?
Renee, I think Renee did a great job.
Oh, thanks, I kept it moving.
We got about 2 hours more.
Yeah, so, all right, and, all right, anyone?
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second motion.
And all in favor? We are.
See you, Tony.
So that was.
Have a good day.